Hi, everybody. Welcome to Build. I'm Cole Delbick with HuffPost, and today we're here with Liz Gillies from the modern-day reboot of Dynasty. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you for having me. Hi, guys.
You know, it's almost surreal sitting here with you because, no joke, this photo of you in a full-blown cat fight greets me every morning when I walk outside my apartment.
Really? This is what I hear. I hear they're all over the place.
Yeah, your face on posters is covering the city.
Oh, my God.
Is it surreal? Are you used to it?
Yeah. I mean, look at my long earlobe, by the way. I checked, and mine doesn't stretch that long, and now I've called attention to it, but it's actually really, really long. Oh, sorry, I dipped my hand in the water. Anyway, I know they're everywhere. It's kind of cool. I hope people like the show. Where is your, I'm not going to ask where you live, but what kind of, it's nice and big? I look at you every morning?
Oh, yeah, I'm nice and big. I feel like I'm making eye contact.
Nice.
You know, the reboot is so twisty and soapy in the best ways, but it's also sort of a different take on Dynasty. And something that struck me from watching the pilot is that it seems distinctly set in the backdrop of this Trump era. The series opens with a clip of the Trump family. So I'm curious, what do you think the decision was behind sort of opening the series like this? And how can we expect sort of what's going on in the country to inform, you know, where we pick up with these characters?
Well, we had to make a lot of changes to our reimagining of Dynasty, because if you watch the original Dynasty, there's just, the times were different. It was the 80s. There were a lot of things were said that could never be said now. I mean, my favorite things is that in the original, Stephen, who plays my brother, he was really grappling with his sexuality in the original, and Blake Carrington, his father, had a very hard time with it. And then I think he ended up marrying a few women, and they never really ever addressed it. He was never comfortable with it. In our version of Dynasty, no issue at all. He's out. He's proud. Also, we've made Heather Locklear's character a Latin man, Sammy Joe, and that is Stephen's lover. So aside from that, we're talking about, you know, the crisis, what's happening in Venezuela, because Crystal's from Venezuela. We're talking about fracking. Obviously, yes, we're obsessed with dynasties right now. You can look all over, especially one place. So I think it's a timely, it's a good time to bring it back. Plus, my favorite part of this and why I think it's so important is we have these two women who are so ambitious. They're in boardrooms, and it's going to be nice for girls of any age to watch this show and see two really strong, ambitious women. And I don't think there's enough of that on TV. I mean, these women are, you know, commanding boardrooms, and they're vying to be the head of the company, and that's why they fight. Not so much over shoes, but more for to own a business. So that's kind of the way to go.
Right. Fallon is not the one to play with in that trailer.
Very violent. Very violent. No, she doesn't go down easily. No, and she was burned twice by Crystal. So once because, you know, he brought her home and he's in love with her, and twice because she took the role that she had been vying for since she was a little girl. So yeah, she got a little slap. It happens.
You know, I think it sort of begs the question for the audience: are these figures, is the Carrington family still sort of like, are they aspirational figures? Do we still want to be like them, or does the reboot more take sort of a critical eye to their wealth and their success?
Well, I mean, you look at them at first, and I think the first we see Fallon, she's stepping off of a private jet and, you know, fooling around with her driver in the car, and you think it's just this beautiful life and everything's wonderful. But as we've learned, and as we all know, with most people who have it all, when the lights go down and they're alone in their rooms, they're usually very lonely and very miserable. And so these are human characters. The problems that they have are, they might be in a different dressing, because obviously they're dealing with much different things than most of us deal with in our daily lives, but it's a dysfunctional family at the end of the day. So do we want to be like them? I want to be like Fallon for the most part. I'm not violent, and I'm not as mean as her, but she gets what she wants, and she knows how to get what she wants. And if I took a little bit of the cattiness out of it and the manipulation, I think that it's always good to be strong and driven and clear in what you want. And so she's rubbed off on me a little, I'd say, in a good way, none of the bad ways yet.
You know, this is sort of the latest reimagining of a classic property for the CW. We had 90210 reboots, Melrose Place. We have Sexy Archie on Riverdale.
I know. Wait, I binge watched Riverdale because they're our partner on CW, and I was like, I'll watch an episode. I need to educate myself. And then I ended up watching the whole thing.
12 hours later.
It's a very sexy little show they've got going on there, isn't it? Does everyone else watch Riverdale? I was like, oh my. I stuck around with the teacher. I was like, what's happening?
No, they deliver. I mean, this show, too, like, what can you tell fans of the original show that might be sort of concerned about its legacy on the CW.
Yeah, I would just, with anything, of course, there's trepidation. But for me, okay, so like when I got this script and was presented with this idea, reboot is a very scary word. I know how beloved Dynasty is. I know what an iconic show it was and the fan base that it had built. And so I was trepidatious, and I wouldn't have agreed to it or done it if it wasn't done well. And the most beautiful part of it is that we have Esther and Richard Shapiro, who are the original creators of Dynasty. They're executive producing our show. They gave the blessing. They kissed the rings. And the show has all... The pilot is excellent. It's fun. And you've seen it and you liked it. But if you... I mean, come 2 or 3 more weeks in, I mean, it's just Fallon going down to eat breakfast in a turban and a caftan and, like, feather high heels. And it's just... It's all the Dynasty camp that you want with a lot of really good drama. I mean, they've done an excellent job with the storylines and all the reimagining. And for the original Dynasty fan, there are Easter eggs all over the show, little gifts for them from the original, where we're paying homage through wardrobe, through lines. I mean, there's a ton in the pilot. We've made a show that's very... they know a lot about the original Dynasty, and we want to make sure everybody loves it. And I just think it's a fun time. I think everyone should dress up for the premiere and have a Dynasty viewing
shoulder
party.
pads.
Yeah, I tweeted that the other day because why shouldn't you? I have a couple friends that have monthly Dynasty viewing parties of the original. I want to bring that back. I'll find a keyword, do drinking games for every episode. We'll make it fun. Why would you not want to? Just watch it. What else are you going to do?
I mean, nothing. Did you sort of go back through the archives, watch the seasons? Were you familiar with the show?
I was familiar with the show. I love Joan Collins, so I was familiar with her. I had seen all the compilations of her catfights and witty lines, and it's called like Shit Alexis Says. It's a very famous YouTube compilation. But I went back and watched it. I thought I could squeeze in the whole pilot before my audition, but it's 3 hours long is what I learned. So I didn't, but then I ended up binge watching through, I think I'm on season 3 now. And I'll keep going, because I can go on forever, because it was a very long run. But it's fun.
You know, you mentioned Alexis, famously played by Joan Collins,
Yeah.
of course. And to me, Fallon has a little bit of her in her. Can you talk about who Fallon is and how she is sort of different than where we left off?
Well, Fallon is Blake's daughter. She's the daughter of this empire, this Carrington. Not to use that word. I know there's, she's the daughter of this patriarch of this wealthy family, and she's highly ambitious. And unlike, I think she's way more ambitious, way more driven, and has a lot more bite than Pamela Sue Martin. I know it was played by 2 actresses, but so far I've only seen Pamela in what I've been watching than the original Fallon did. And she's inherited a lot more of her mother's, gusto. So she's much more like Alexis. She's a little crazier. She's highly emotional. I'm exhausted playing her, but the longer it goes on, the crazier and more twisted everything gets, and the more she's pushed to her brink. She's a survivor, and she's scrappy, and she knows how to pick up the pieces and start again, because she and the whole family, they've been through a lot, and they've seen a lot, and they've seen so many women come and go, which is why she really doesn't respect Crystal, and she wants to rip up her wedding dress.
You know, Alexis, your mother is mentioned in the pilot, but we don't see her. Do you have any sort of dream casting that you would like to? Who do you want to play Alexis?
I have a long list. It's very long. I think I'm in my brain. I think I'm a producer, and I have like everyone I think I'm going out to. Meanwhile, I have no one's number. I could tell you, but I feel like if they hear about it, God forbid it makes news, it's not as formal and beautiful as receiving the invitation. I have my picks, though. Who do you think would be excellent?
I mean, you did mention Heather Locklear.
People have been saying that. I'm down. I'm down for Heather Locklear.
Way down. You know, and sort of with this show, so much of it is about family and about these family dynamics. And you mentioned, you know, Stephen, who now is sort of like out and proud, which is sort of like a win representationally. Yeah. What other ways has the show sort of kind of adapted with the times?
I mean, the fact that our cast is so diverse has been a beautiful change that we've made. Crystal's Latina, the Colbys are no longer, you know, white. We have a lot of changes we've made to make the cast super diverse in every way. We're in Atlanta, so it's hipper. It's. I say hip, and everyone says I sound so old when I say hip, because I'm not. It's like it's hip. The kids love it. We go to lots of clubs. No, I had to do a club scene. I had never danced in a club or gone to a club, but Fallon's like, cool. So I had to figure that out. Apparently, I nailed it. I don't believe anyone who told me that, so I'll be very embarrassed when that comes out. Anyway, it's younger. It's set for this generation. Again, if you go back and watch the original, so much of that would not have flown now. And I think all the changes we made were necessary and important, and I think they only improved the show. And I hope people love it. Yeah,
you know, and speaking more of Fallon, she has a sort of bad girl streak in her, and you seem to be perfectly primed for this, given your role in Victorious.
Sure.
But so what attracted you to the role, and how did you go about making her more than just another mean girl, another character type?
Well, I never accept a role that's just a typical mean girl or someone who walks through a hallway, pushes books out of hands, and giggles with friends. It's never been something I'm interested in. The river runs very deep with Fallon. There's a lot of hurt underneath all of her bite. And my favorite thing about her is that I love to play her because there are so many characters that bring out completely different sides in her. She's putting on a different show for every single person in the cast, and so she's extremely vulnerable when she has scenes with her driver Colhane, who she loves, and with her brother, and then she's always trying to be so impressive to her father. She has a huge wall up, and she's super rude to Crystal, so it's like I'm playing 10 different characters. And also, I like to play a role, although she's 25, her age is really up in the air, and the more you'll watch the show, you'll see that she behaves sometimes like she's 12, sometimes like she's 55, other times like she's 20. So I like those roles. You know, I'm not playing a high school role, which is nice. I think that I failed so many auditions because I'm like an old broad, and so this is a perfect role for me. She's just drink in hand, one-liner, nice heel. What more can I ask for?
I mean, your scenes with Crystal are so electric, and they're so fun to watch. What is it like working together on set?
Natalie's amazing. Natalie and I are super different. She's super, not that I'm not feminine, but she's super girly and soft-spoken and just like ethereal and beautiful. I'm from the East Coast. I'm not saying I'm from Jersey, I'm gonna fall into my accent, but I'm very direct and loud. And so all these things because Natalie and I are so different, it was great because we bonded right away. We have a lot of the same interests. And on camera, I just think the fact that we're so different makes our fighting and everything so much more fun because these two girls really are apples and oranges. But although they're apples and oranges, they both want the same thing, and that's where the conflict comes from. They're both very strong, very driven women.
You know, the cat fights are this hallmark of Dynasty.
Yeah.
I feel like people are tuning in to see someone thrown in a pool or just vicious slap.
They'll be having them on pay-per-view.
Right, I watch. What is that like filming? Are they like highly choreographed? Is it a long day on set?
Well, we originally choreographed for the first one an 8-minute long cat fight.
8 minutes, wow.
Which is, by the way, that's not a thing for even an hour show. No one gives like 8 minutes to a cat fight. But then again, I think we're the only. Anyway, so I just got lipstick all over the mic. It's fine. So we choreographed this whole thing. It was really elaborate. It started up here, bed, floor, really intense. Like I think she flipped me. No, I don't know if she flipped me over, but it was getting very glow. So I didn't know if that was the tone, and then we sent it in. They're like, "This is adorable. It's going to be like 30 seconds." And we're like, "Oh." So we ended up. My only thing, I have a teeth thing, so I just want to make sure everything's padded. Like when she pushed my face down, but it's on the control. Whoever's getting thrown around, and they're in control. So we're seasoned cat fighters now. Yeah, and she's a good partner.
The way you bite the wedding topper is...
Oh, I ate that. I'm dairy free, so I went to set and I said I was down to eat it if it was made dairy free. Then of course they're scrambling. These poor men had to remake me something dairy free chocolate. Such a pain, but it was delicious. And then I ate about 7. I did it like 7 or 8 times. I never thought they'd put the whole chew in there. Psychotic, but I ate the whole thing, and it was. I almost asked for a couple more of the cake topper heads to go in a little baggie. They were delicious.
I mean, instantly iconic already. You're also known for your voice and singing, and the CW has, done these musical episodes before. Would you ever, looking ahead, do you think you might use that side of your talent in the show?
Yeah, sure. I struggle. Like, I wonder if Fallon should sing. I wonder if she should have that talent. Or if she should just be able to play pool and ride horses and do all these like waspy
drink whiskey,
drink men under the table, just things to land a deal. But I'd love her to be a little crooner. I don't even remember. A lot of things I pitched get shot down, I'll be honest with you. But none of them are good, that's why. I was like, can I have a scene where I'm like Mrs. Robinson and I'm sweating and crying with a cigarette? They're like, but what's the premise? I'm like, I don't know, you'll write around it. They're like, no.
That's it.
I'm like, can I be like Deborah Prada, Meryl Streep with no makeup and a robe? They're like, for what? What's the scene? I'm like, I didn't write the scene. They're like, no. Anyway, I forgot your question because I'm really... What was your question?
I was just interested about like your musical side.
Oh, I'd be down. Listen, if someone hands me a microphone on TV or anywhere, I'll sing. Not now. But I know they do a lot of musical things. I think it would be nice if we did a Fever Dream episode where because we have so many musical people in our cast, but I'm not sure it would make sense if everyone was a seasoned professional singer / performer. So I think if somebody, maybe Steven gets a flu or something, or he's on death's door, and we do a musical episode. Yeah, I'd love that.
And you, of course, co-starred with Ariana Grande. You guys are famously friends.
Yeah.
What does she think about the show? Has she seen it? Would she maybe come on it?
She hasn't seen it. I mean, she has an open invite. She can come on whenever she wants. I'm sure they'll write something for her whenever she wants. We were big Gossip Girl fans, and this show definitely has a similar tone to Gossip Girl. It totally stands on its own. It's very different. However, I was a very big fan of that, and there are certain shots in the pilot, if you see, where they're setting up parties or the establishing or the way they use music, Josh and Stephanie, who did Gossip Girl, where it feels very reminiscent of that. So it's very exciting. I'm hoping this next generation will kind of get really stoked about it the way I did when Gossip Girl came out. But this really is an all ages type of show. 'Cause, yeah.
You mentioned Josh and Stephanie. And you sort of stand in a line of great heroines on these teen shows.
Yeah.
When you think of someone like Blair Waldorf or Summer Roberts, how do you think Fallon sort of compares? Do you think she'd come out on top?
I know. I recently did an interview about this, and I was just raving about Blair Waldorf, and then the title ended up being, like, Liz says she'll never be able to live up to Blair Waldorf, and don't even bother watching. I was like, that's not what I said, but I do like her a lot. I think that Blair was in high school. There are similarities for sure, and I like that there are similarities because Josh and Stephanie know how to, and Sally Patrick, who's our head writer, who's so incredible, she's created this really strong, anytime you get a really strong young woman, especially in this kind of a format, it's going to be reminiscent, but I'm telling you, she's an old broad. She's like, you can just see her at like a saloon, like with men, I can't explain it. And Blair was very much Queen Bee, and she was high school, and she fit very much in that world of running things over there and more that sort of way. And she's more of a businesswoman, and they're just different. I'm not copying her. I wouldn't touch what she did because she did a wonderful job. I love Leighton Meester in that show. I watch it every night to fall asleep.
So good.
I watch that and Something's Gotta Give to fall asleep because they're happy. It's an overshare.
Much needed in these times. And then sort of looking ahead to this season, what can you tease about this crazy family?
There's so much to tease. I mean, beyond the outfits, which I can't even get into how incredible they are. It's honestly, I'm not recommending you do this, but say someone can't stand the show. If they watched it just on mute, just to have it in the background, it's so beautiful and stunning. But the show is very much worth watching. I would get it on it from the beginning because it's going to be like Game of Thrones where you can't catch up and then you're going to be the loser who knows nothing and all your friends are on it. I would say that there are tons of catfights, tons of drama. So much happens in each episode. They're so jam-packed. It's so much fun. That's really all I can say. And I would have viewing parties. I really would. You're not going to have one. I see it in your eyes.
I already had one.
Did you?
Yeah.
When?
I had a pilot. I had a couple friends over.
You did. That's sneaky. I bet they weren't allowed to see it yet.
Colleague.
No, I mean, the show, especially once you get a few episodes in especially, you just get so hooked. I know that's what happened for all of us even working on it. Every script we read, we're so excited and we can't wait to the next one. It has that soap element where it's a constant cliffhangers and it's very exciting. And this cast is incredible. There's somebody everyone can relate to in some form in this show, and that's another thing that makes it great.
Well, we're going to turn it over to audience questions. Yeah. We have one in the audience, I think. Oh, hi.
Hi. So since this is a modern-day reboot in the same vein how the CW did Melrose Place and 90210, I was wondering, since those shows had their original cast members appearing on the reboot, is there any chance you'll see any of the cast members from the old show come onto this?
I definitely think there's a chance. We have not ruled that out at all. I think once we get going, once it makes sense, I would not be surprised at all if a few of them came on the show, and hopefully, they want to, and I think they will. And I think our whole thing is you never know who's going to come through the door, and that's the fun of Dynasty, and that was what made it so special when it was on and originally, and we're going to follow that same format. So yeah, we would love to have some original cast members. I'm not speaking out of school saying that, for sure.
Hi, my name is Nasir. This is me and my friend Jax's question.
Hi.
What's it like transferring to like a show like Victorious and 13 and your other FX show?
I know. Makes no sense, but it's okay. Yeah, my career's kind of all over the place, which I like because I have very, very dynamic interests. I went from Broadway and then I did a Nickelodeon show and then I was on FX, which was right before this, and that could not have been more opposite than what I'm doing now. But I like it. I mean, I like to change things up. I like that she's nothing like the last character I played, and I hope to keep doing that because it's cool. I've been taught how many strong women and strong characters you can play, but how they can all be completely different. And that's what's been really fun so far in my career. And maybe one day I'll play a nice girl. I doubt it, but maybe it'll happen.
One day.
Not soon.
We have one more question.
Hi there.
Hi.
So shows such as 90210 and Gossip Girl have sort of defined a generation and have been the CW show for certain generations. Do you see Dynasty being one of those that we sort of carry on moving forward?
I mean, listen, if I say it's going to be the biggest thing and the next week no one likes it, I'd be pretty embarrassed if someone no, I'm kidding. I think it will. I watched it. I got that same tingly feeling when I watched it, that as I watched Gossip Girl and the OC and all these shows that kind of defined a generation and were so much fun. And I think now it's such a timely moment to bring a show like this back. And so I have very high hopes for it. And I do feel that it's special and that it's going to last a long time. So I hope everyone feels the same way.
Well, everyone make sure to tune in October 11th on the CW.
Please, after all that, you
After
have to
all
now.
that, come on.
You sat here, you listened to me talk for XYZ many minutes. You better watch it.
Thank you so much for joining us,
Thank
Liz.
you so much. Thanks, guys.
Give it up.